What kind of tile can you put on the wall or shower? Do you have to seal tile? How much extra tile should I buy for my project? What thin set is the best for my tile application? How hard is it to maintain natural stone? You have questions, we have answers. Welcome to the Belk Tile Podcast. How to style the bathroom, the backyard, the kitchen. How to improve your home style with tiles to make your home absolutely beautiful. Welcome to the Belk Tile Podcast. Here's your host, Mike Belk.
All right, welcome back to Belk Tile Talk. I'm Mike Belk, and as always, I've got Abby here with me.
Good morning, everyone.
Today, we're going deep on something folks don't always think about until it's too late, slip resistance in tile. You wouldn't believe how many calls I get from people who learned the hard way that pretty tile isn't always safe tile.
It happens way more than you'd think, Mike. And it's not just bathrooms and showers, though those are the obvious spots. Kitchens. Think about all the splashy chaos in a busy family kitchen, or all those spills near the stove. And then there's outdoor patios and pool decks. Slip resistance is crucial in any space that's likely to get wet.
Absolutely, and let's make this simple. Slip resistance, technically, that's measured using things like COF ratings, coefficient of friction, right? Or sometimes you'll hear about R values, especially if you're looking at tile from Europe. COF, DCOF, R9, R10, they're all ways of rating how slippery or not your tiles are when they get wet or greasy.
And that's the thing, not all slip ratings are created equal. DCOF, that's dynamic coefficient of friction, is the big one in North America. Basically, it's a fancy lab test where they see how easy it is to slide something across the tile when it's wet. Above 0.42 in those tests, pretty good for most wet indoor areas. Patios or pool decks, you want even higher.
R values, now quick primer there, they run from R9 up through R13. R9 is, well, not much grip. That's your smooth, glossy stuff you see in living rooms, maybe bedrooms. When you start talking bathrooms or kitchens, especially with water and grease, you want R10 or above. Pool decks, changing areas, R12, R13 territory. Anything with real potential for slips and falls.
And I hear this all the time, but I picked a matte tile, so I thought I was good. Nope, that's a myth. Not every matte tile is automatically safe, just like not all glossy tiles are a guaranteed fall hazard. You gotta look at the actual slip rating and honestly think about how the space gets used day to day.
Oh, for sure. That reminds me, I had a client who chose these really beautiful high-gloss tiles for their kitchen. Loved the look, but after a couple spaghetti sauce mishaps and wet shoes, regret city. They ended up putting down mats everywhere just to be safe. It taught me, check the specs first, not just the showroom shine.
Exactly, and don't be fooled by marketing buzzwords either. Ask for the slip test results and make sure the rating matches how you'll use the space. Let's dig into finishes, because that's usually where people get tripped up, literally and figuratively. So let's talk finishes. Gloss versus matte. Glossy tiles, gorgeous. They bounce light, they look upscale, and in the right space, they absolutely make a room shine. But put that same glossy tile on a bathroom floor, recipe for, well, needing a Band-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said glossy finishes are best for walls or spots that don't see a lot of puddles or cooking splatter. They show every footprint, water spot, and honestly, they're slick when anything wet hits them. But on the wall, looks fantastic, super elegant. It's about putting the right finish in the right place.
That's the sweet spot. Now, matte finishes, more understated, I guess. Less glare, hides smudges and imperfections, and usually offers a little more grip. Great for floors, bathrooms, kitchens, really any high-traffic, messy zone.
Matte tiles for floors, gloss for walls. It's kind of an old school rule, but it works for a reason. A matte floor is forgiving. Spills, crumbs, a little water, nobody will even notice. Only downside, sometimes with the wrong lighting, it can look a bit flat or dull, and some folks want more drama in the design.
Right, and you can totally mix them for the best of both. I love a matte on the floor, gloss on the wall combo for bathroom renos. It's safe, it looks balanced, and you can use lighting or a bold accent color to keep the whole room from feeling too muted. Saw that trend everywhere when we talked about shower floors a few episodes ago, and it's still holding strong.
Best part, you get all the visual depth up high, like a glimmering wall tile, without risking a wipeout when you hop out of the shower. Let's dig in a bit more, though, because finish isn't the only thing that helps with grip. Texture, that's where things get interesting. Yeah, so if you want to up your safety game without giving up on style, start looking at texture. It's more than just a look, it's how the tile feels under your feet. Think of those stone look tiles with the little ridges or bumps, or the wood look tiles with that grain you can actually feel.
And don't forget mosaics. Smaller tiles mean more grout lines, and more grout lines mean more traction. That's why, as we talked about a while back in our shower floors episode, mosaics are such a hit, especially on the shower pan. Bonus points if you're into that pebble mosaic look. It's comfy and surprisingly secure underfoot.
I will say, though, it's a bit of a trade-off. The more texture you've got, the more spots for dirt to collect, soap, scum, grime, all that stuff loves to settle in every nook. If you go for those chunky, super textured tiles around a pool or in a shower, be ready for a little extra cleaning to keep things neat.
Totally. One of my favorite looks is a matte, textured porcelain tile for pool surrounds. It handles splashes, it's less slippery, and it can look like real stone or wood. Just, plan for a little more TLC with the scrub brush. But textural contrast also adds so much visual interest. Floors, accent walls, even little shower niches. When you combine smooth and rough textures, you get depth, warmth, and lots of character.
Agreed. There's nothing wrong with a good cleaning day anyway. But like you said, Abby, it's balancing what you can maintain with the safety and the look, which is kind of the whole design challenge, right? Making spaces beautiful and functional at the same time.
Designers are all about that balance. Nobody wants their home to look like a locker room, but nobody wants a trip to urgent care either. The good news is, pairing different finishes and textures gets you the best of both worlds. Think big, glossy marble-look tiles climbing up your shower wall, paired with slip-resistant matte tiles on the floor. It's instantly stunning and you keep your footing.
Love that look. Another thing I've been seeing, people using textured mosaics just inside the shower niche for an accent, but then sticking to a smoother tile everywhere else to make cleaning less of a chore. Adds visual pop, but keeps maintenance in check.
Definitely. And there's a new trend catching fire, combining gloss and matte in one room, not just for looks, but to actually show that you can have style and safety side by side. You can even find tiles now where the finish changes across the surface. That way, designers play with light and grip in the same space, which is pretty neat.
I like that because for so long, people thought picking safe tiles meant giving up good design. Not true at all anymore. With the right balance, you can build a wow factor space that's also family-friendly or ready for wild pool parties or whatever you throw at it, really.
That's the big win. You don't have to sacrifice beauty for safety. There are smart ways to mix finishes, textures, and even grout shades to make something that feels high-end and performs in real life. Before we wrap, let's talk about how folks listening can make the smartest, safest choices for their projects. All right, practical tips. You got to check the COF rating or R value before handing over your credit card. Seriously, if you're shopping and the tile doesn't show a slip resistance rating, ask. And if you're aiming for wet areas like a bathroom, kitchen, or patio, hunt for slip-resistant or wet area tiles. Sometimes porcelain options are designed specifically for this, and they're awesome.
And don't be afraid to get hands-on at the store. If in doubt, ask to see a sample, and here's a little trick. Drop a bit of water on it and rub your hand or shoe over it. You'll get a feel for how grippy it really is. Not super scientific, but it can tell you a lot right there in real life.
Yeah, use rugs or mats if you've already got a spot that gets slick, like near the sink, the back door, or the shower entrance. Pro tip, pick a darker grout for busy areas. It'll help hide stains, dirt, all that day-to-day mess that white grout just can't forgive.
If you go with natural stone or something heavily textured, always seal it. Water, oils, and gunk can get into unsealed tile and grout and cause headaches down the road. Better to protect it up front than try to fix problems later.
And don't forget, there's no such thing as slip-proof tile. Maintenance is a big part of keeping your space safe. Keep up on cleaning, use area rugs responsibly, and don't hesitate to ask your supplier for the best options for your project, especially if you're a DIYer or running your first reno.
That's it. Design with safety in mind from the jump, and you can have beautiful spaces without the uh-oh moments. Before we sign off, Abby, want to let listeners know what's coming up?
Absolutely. Next time, we're getting into something people rarely get excited about, but honestly, grout makes or breaks your tile project. Tune in for practical hacks, color picks, and a few horror stories, probably. Mike, always good chatting with you and sharing what we've learned from years in the tile trenches.
Always a blast, Abby. And for everyone listening, if you learned something today, share the podcast, subscribe, check out belktile.com for more tile resources and inspiration. Safe and stylish, that's the Belk way. Take care, Abby.
See you next time, Mike, and bye, everyone. Happy tiling.
You've been listening to the Belk Tile Podcast. When it comes to creating a beautiful home using tile, this is the podcast for products, design ideas, and tips. We hope you got some useful, practical information from this show, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, reach out. The website is www.belktile.com. Our store phone number is 614-543-8334. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Belk Tile and on Instagram at Belk Tiles. Make sure to leave a rating and review. And if you have questions or comments, reach out. And we'll talk about it on the next show. Till next time.